This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, Taiwan is standing firm after Donald Trump downplayed a $14 billion U.S. arms sale following talks with Xi Jinping, raising concerns over Washington's long-term commitments. A massive blast and fire at a historic lumber mill in Maine left one firefighter dead and 11 injured, destroying equipment and triggering a major regional emergency response. Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is ready for any scenario as he coordinates with Trump, announcing the killing of a senior Hamas commander and expanded land control in Gaza Strip. Miguel Diaz-Canel toured a Sino-Cuban EV factory in Havana as the island's power grid nears collapse amid sanctions and fuel shortages. Rani Ludovica says the case of Ronald Bato de la Rosa is unique, noting the senator faces an international court rather than local charges. And Harry Styles launched his Together Together residency in Amsterdam with a 20-song show at the Johan Cruyff Arena. I'm Andrea Santos. Newsline World starts now. First in our news, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his nation is pre-prepared for any scenario as he coalitions with U.S. President Donald Trump on the regional crisis. Netanyahu also announced the elimination of a top Hamas military commander, declared expanded land control in Gaza, and issued a stark warning to Tehran. Almar Forzuelo reports.
During a special cabinet meeting at the Knesset Museum, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed an upcoming phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump to align strategies following Trump's high-profile state visit to China. The discussions come directly on the heels of Trump's viral social media warning that the clock is ticking for Iran to move fast or there won't be anything left of them.
הלוחמות שלנו והטייסות שלנו גיבורים וגיבורות. איננו פתוחה גם לגבי איראן. אני אשוחח היום, כפי שאני עושה מדי כמה ימים, עם ידידנו הנשיא טראמפ, אשמע בוודאי רשמים על נסיעתו מסין.
Turning to the battlefield, Netanyahu announced that Israeli forces have assassinated Is-al-Din al-Haddad, whom he named as the top figure in Hamas military wing. Netanyahu also claimed a major strategic shift on the ground, asserting that the IDF has expanded its operational footprint across Gaza. Despite ongoing operations to clear territory in Lebanon, a U.S.-brokered truce remains active. On Friday, President Trump announced a 45-day extension to the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire following a second round of intense diplomatic talks. To combat escalating aerial threats, Netanyahu revealed he has formed a specialized task force to neutralize enemy drones, telling the team they have a blank check to secure Israel's airspace.
אמרתי להם דבר שקצת הפתיע אותם, אין לכם מגבלת תקציב. כמה שזה יעלה, זה יעלה. אין לכם גם מגבלה, כך אני יודע, של יצירתיות וכוח הדמיון, כי אתם הכי טובים בעולם.
Reporter for Newsline World, Almar Forzuelo, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, a massive explosion and subsequent fire at the historic lumber mill in the U.S. state of Maine has left one firefighter dead and at least 11 others injured. The powerful blast destroyed emergency apparatus and triggered a massive mutual aid response from across the region as crews battled the flames for hours. Virgil Parba reports.
In the United States, emergency crews rushed to Robbins Lumber in Sursemont, Maine on Friday morning following reports of a fire. While firefighters were actively conducting suppression efforts inside a silo, a massive explosion ripped through the facility, sending thick smoke and intense flames into the air. Authorities said several workers suffered injuries, while firefighters battled the blaze for hours to contain the fire and secure the site. One firefighter was tragically killed at the scene. Investigators are now working to determine the cause of the explosion, though officials have not yet released further details. The incident has sent shockwaves through the local community and raised immediate concerns over industrial safety infrastructure. Robbins Lumber, a 5-generation family business operating since 1881, is a staple of Maine's historic forest products industry, which contributes billions to the state's economy. Family spokesperson Christian Halstead confirmed that operations at the mill have been paused for at least a week to allow the company to cooperate fully with ongoing investigation. This has been Virgil Parba, your Global Citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Nigoyang Women's Football Club has arrived in Incheon ahead of a highly anticipated football showdown in Suwon, marking the team's first appearance there in 8 years. The visit is drawing attention from football fans and observers amid the rare sporting exchange between the two Koreas. Players and officials were seen arriving at the airport before traveling to Suwon for the upcoming match. The event is being viewed as more than just a sporting competition, with some describing it as a symbolic moment of engagement through football. The upcoming fixture is expected to attract significant attention as cross-border sporting interactions between the DPRK and South Korea remain relatively uncommon. Taiwan is standing firm in the wake of bombshell remarks by U.S. President Donald Trump following Trump's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, where the U.S. leader shrugged off a pending $14 billion arms sale to the island. Faith Agustin has more.
Speaking in Taipei, spokesperson Karen Kuo stated that while Taiwan took note of Trump's jarring comments, the island remains fiercely committed to cross-strait peace while maintaining its right to self-defense.
我们要强调，中华民国是主权独立的民主国家，北京无权对台湾有所主张。而我国也感谢川普总统自第一任任期以来对台海安全的持续支持。我们也会进一步深化台美合作，透过实力带来和平，确保台海安全稳定，不受威胁破坏。
Kuo also stressed that Beijing has no right to claim sovereignty over Taiwan and said the island remains committed to strengthening cooperation with the United States. Kuo forcefully defended Taiwan's ongoing arms procurement program, pushing back against critics of the military deals. She argued that China's unrelenting military expansion along the first island chain is the sole catalyst driving democratic allies to bolster their defenses in tandem with Washington.
至于外界所关注的军购议题，众所周知的是，中国持续升高军事威胁，这才是台海与印太区域唯一的不安全因素，也是当前第一岛链周边各国与美方合作积极强化防卫的原因，也不会例外。台美军售不仅明载于台湾关系法里，美国对台湾的安全承诺更是对区域威胁的共同吓阻力。我国期待与美方持续在台湾关系法的坚实承诺之下，与全球民主友盟持续合作，共同因应威权国家对地缘安全还有对全球秩序所带来的风险。
Despite the uncertainty sparked by Trump's recent dialogue with Xi Jinping in Beijing, Taipei said it hopes to continue working closely with the United States and other democratic partners to address regional security concerns. This has been Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Up next, Miguel Diaz-Canal toured a Sino-Cuban EV factory in Havana as the island's power grid nears collapse amid sanctions and fuel shortages. And Rani Ludovica says the case of Ronald Bato de la Rosa is unique, noting the senator faces an international court rather than local charges. More news when Newsline World returns.
Taon-taon, kwento sa bawat kwento, katotohanan sa bawat katotohanan. Mula pa sa pasimula, malinaw ang aming misyon. Magbigay ng tamang impormasyon, maglantad ng katotohanan, manindigan sa lahat ng oras, lalo na't kinakailangan. Hindi lang minsang kinilala, kundi muli at muli. Sa likod ng bawat pagkilala ay katotohanang naibahagi. Isang tinig na narinig. Isang katotohanang umabot sa bawat Pilipino. Sa kabila ng nagbabagong panahon, sa kabila ng mga pagsubok, nananatili ang aming paninindigan. Ang pundasyon namin ay katotohanan. Ang lakas namin ay tiwala ng mamamayang Pilipino sa loob at labas ng bansa. Maraming salamat po. SMNI, para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas nating mahal.
Back, crippling blackouts totaling over 2,000 megawatts plunged Havana and much of Cuba into near-total darkness on Saturday, driving grassroots refuge to outdoor streets and upending daily food storage. Angie De Leon has the news.
Headlights from slow-moving vehicles and the occasional glow of a smartphone were the only sources of light across Havana on Saturday night, as a massive failure gridlock crippled Cuba's national electric system. Official metrics confirmed grid disruptions lasted a consecutive 24 hours, shedding an unprecedented peak shortfall of 2,041 megawatts nationwide in the capital alone. A peak deficit of 447 megawatts forced emergency electrical disconnections across multiple structural circuits, leaving millions without fans, refrigeration, or indoor lights. The situation is projected to deteriorate further. The state-run Union Electrica forecasts an even steeper deficit, estimating peak demand hours will fall short by at least 20,083 megawatts. The social toll is hitting local households heavily. Merchants and parents across Havana report that the prolonged outages are actively preventing children from attending school due to extreme sleep deprivation from nighttime heat. Local business operators attribute the grid collapse directly to the stringent U.S. embargo, which blocks the importation of critical repair parts for the island's aging thermoelectric plants. Amid the darkness, humor and political defiance remain. In the capital's Diez de Octubre neighborhood, residents playing dominoes under flashlights were heard shouting that Donald Trump is afraid, referencing the U.S. president's aggressive tariff barriers on third-party nations providing fuel to the island.
Los niños no van para la escuela, la mayoría de los niños no van a la escuela porque tienen que dormir y eso y no pueden. De verdad que yo quisiera que esto cambiara porque Cuba es el mejor país para vivir, es Cuba, usted lo sabe, es verdad, pero tenemos situaciones ahora, el bloqueo, esto, que lo otro, ¿me entiende?
with local infrastructure crippled by limited maintenance and systemic fuel import constraints. The blackouts are illustrating the stark reality behind Cuba's urgent push for renewable alternatives, such as the solar-powered EV factories currently being backed by Beijing in the suburbs of Havana. Angie De Leon, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Meanwhile, with Cuba's electric grid teetering on the edge of total collapse, President Miguel Diaz-Canel has toured a major Sino-Cuban electric vehicle factory in Havana, signaling a deepening strategic alliance as U.S. tariffs and empires in instability strip the island of its diesel reserves. Prince Tripoli has the details.
The high-profile tour of the Vedca facility in Villeros comes as Cuba struggles under severe resource constraints and a depleting fuel reserve. Flanked by Chinese Ambassador Hua Xin, the Cuban leader framed the facility as a vital shield against ongoing Washington pressure. The factory, which exploded from producing 1,000 units in its first year to over 10,000 electronic scooters and tricycles last year, has generated over $12 million in revenue and represents Havana's desperate pivot away from fossil fuel dependence.
La fábrica es una expresión concreta de la comunidad de futuro compartido que estamos construyendo con la República Popular China. Por lo tanto, esta tiene que ser una fábrica que se distinga a nivel de país, que se destaque, que sea una fábrica innovadora, sea una fábrica que contribuya al desarrollo.
The push for electrification comes as Energy and Mines Minister Vicente de la Levy warned that national diesel and fuel oil reserves are nearly depleted. Cuba's traditional lifeline, Venezuelan oil, has been severely choked off following aggressive U.S. sanctions targeting President Nicolas Maduro, alongside a newly announced Washington tariff wall explicitly penalizing third-party nations that supply oil to the Caribbean island. To bypass the crippled state grid, Vedca directors announced the factory is installing massive solar photovoltaic arrays to achieve complete energy independence by September.
Pero China no va a cambiar nuestra determinación de apoyar a Cuba en esta transición y vamos a redoblar esfuerzos.
The partnership is slated to expand by August to include the assembly of electric cars and pickup trucks, utilizing advanced Chinese robotics and laser cutting tech to slash localized manufacturing costs by up to 50%. As Washington tightens its embargo under the banner of regional containment, Beijing's industrial footprint in Havana is rapidly shifting from a commercial venture to an absolute economic spine for the island. Reporting from Newsline World, this has been Prince Tripoli, SMN News.
Quezon City's 2nd District Councilor Rani Ludovica said the situation of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa is different from previous senators who were arrested over cases they faced. Almar Forzuelo is back for more news.
Former Senator Leila de Lima was arrested inside the Senate in 2017 over illegal drug-related charges. In 2018, former Senator Antonio Trillanes was placed under Senate protective custody over rebellion charges. In 1990, the late former Senator Juan Ponce Enrile was arrested while the Senate was in session. However, under the leadership of then NBI Director Alfredo Lim, NBI agents waited for Enrile outside the Senate before carrying out the arrest. These are just some of the incidents involving the arrest of senators in Philippine history due to the cases filed against them. The warrants of arrest against the said senators were all issued by local courts in the Philippines. This was the point being emphasized by Quezon City 2nd District Councilor Rani Ludovica regarding the ongoing issue surrounding the possible arrest of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. In an interview with SMN News, Ludovica said De La Rosa's situation is different because the Philippines is no longer under the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court or ICC.
Senator Pangalinan, Senator Soto, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Hontiveros. Tama ka. Na nung kapanahunan, si Dirilo nilabasan ng warrant, si Juan Ponce Enrile nilabasan ng warrant. Tanong ko sa inyo, sino nag-issue ng warrant na yan? Di ba local court natin? Iba ang sitwasyon ni Senador Bato. ICC, hindi ba bansa?
The Senate minority earlier cited previous incidents involving senators who complied with the law under orders issued by Philippine courts. Meanwhile, Councilor Ludovica also said he envies countries like Russia and Israel for refusing to surrender their leaders despite ICC warrants.
Nakakainggit ang Israel, nakakainggit ang Russia. Hinatulan ang mga leader nila, pero walang isa mang Israelo, wala mang isang Ruso na ipinaglulun nila ang leader at ang kanilang mamamayan. Hindi nila sinuko. Pero tayo, sinuko niyo yan dahil sa mga personal ninyong kaya nagkawindang-windang tayo ngayon.
In the end, the councilor also had a message for the senators.
Sisingilin din kayo ng Diyos. Sisilingin din kayo ng taong bayan. Sana may konsensya pa kayo, alang-alang sa mga taong naghihirap ngayon.
For God and beloved Philippines, Almar Forsualo, SMNA News.
An outrageous social media stunt at the Japanese zoo has left a troop of monkeys terrified and 2 American nationals behind bars. The restricted macaque habitat was breached by a costume-wearing intruder on Sunday, sparking an immediate security intervention and outrage from animal welfare advocates. Stella Maris has the story.
The security breach occurred around 10:50 a.m. at the Ichikawa City Botanical Garden in Chiba Prefecture, Japan. One of the suspects, wearing a bright yellow mascot costume and carrying a teddy bear, scaled a safety fence and leaped directly into the monkey-mounted exhibit. His accomplice remained outside the barrier, filming the entire stunt. The macaque's beloved home was disrupted, and the troop, including the adorable baby monkey Punch-kun, fell into a state of sheer panic. Terrified, Punch clung tightly to his friend for comfort as the other macaques scrambled to the top of the artificial stone mountain, huddling together in fear. According to authorities, the stunt was a promotional act tied to a cryptocurrency meme coin group operating under the social media handle The Meme Coin Cult. The group later issued a statement claiming the intruder's sole intention was to give Punch a fresh new teddy bear, though the act drew widespread criticism. Zookeeper Kosuke Shikano intervened quickly, safely removing the trespasser from the enclosure without injuries to humans or animals. Both individuals were subsequently taken into custody by Chiba Prefecture Police for obstructing zoo operations. The incident has drawn wide attention, highlighting concerns about animal welfare and the potential dangers of stunts designed for social media visibility. This has been Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Pop superstar Harry Styles officially launched his latest world tour in Amsterdam with an energetic performance that had fans dancing through the night. Meanwhile, streaming platform HBO Max has officially renewed the upcoming Harry Potter series for a second season, even before its premiere later this year. Daniela Paulite has the latest buzz.
The pop superstar Harry Styles welcomed thousands of concert-goers as he opened the global tour with a set featuring some of his biggest hits and fan favorites. Styles encouraged the crowd to dance all night, setting the tone for the highly anticipated international concert series. Fans packed the venue, waving lights and singing along as the former One Direction member returned to the stage for another major tour run. The Amsterdam concert marks the beginning of a worldwide schedule expected to draw massive audiences across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. The show, Harry Potter Season 2, based on the best-selling novels by J.K. Rowling, is scheduled to debut on the streaming platform in December. HBO Max also announced that production for the second season is expected to begin in autumn as the company continues expanding the franchise for television audiences. Meanwhile, John Brown has been appointed co-showrunner to help maintain the series' momentum ahead of its launch. The new adaptation is among HBO Max's biggest upcoming projects as fans worldwide await a fresh retelling of the iconic wizarding world. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
In sports, England's Aaron Rai claimed the biggest victory of his career after winning the PGA Championship for his first major title. Meanwhile, Canadian star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been named the league's most valuable player for the second straight season after leading Oklahoma City to another dominant campaign. Carlo De La Peña tells us more.
Rai delivered a brilliant final round performance at Aronimink, shooting a 5-under par 65 to finish at 9-under 271 and secured the Wanamaker Trophy. The 31-year-old Englishman sealed the victory with a stunning 68-foot birdie putt on the 17th hole during a tense back nine battle. Rai finished 3 strokes ahead of Spain's John Ram and American Alex Molley to earn the $3.69 million top prize from the tournament's record purse. The victory made Rai the first Englishman since 1919 to win the PGA Championship and only the second from England to capture the title overall. Before this breakthrough, Rai had never finished higher than 19th in a major tournament, although he previously won on both the DP World Tour and PGA Tour. Meanwhile, Gilgeous-Alexander powered the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder to a league-best 64 and 18 regular season record, helping the franchise secure the top seed in the Western Conference playoffs once again. The 27-year-old guard from Toronto earned the 2025-2026 NBA MVP award after receiving the overwhelming majority of first-place votes. He became just the 16th player in league history to capture back-to-back MVP honors, joining NBA greats such as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic. The Thunder superstar averaged 31.1 points per game while shooting a career-best 55.3% from the field, along with 6.6 assists per contest. Gilgeous-Alexander beat out fellow finalists Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama for the award, with Oklahoma City now preparing to face San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Sun. When we love, we do not love in words, but in deeds. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World for God and my beloved country, the Philippines. I'm Andrea Santos. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.